Welcome to Witchin and Bitchin, the podcast. I'm your host, Darren.
And I'm Vicky. How are you all today?
So, rhetorical question as always.
I know it is. I know.
She
I
doesn't
don't know
actually
why
care.
I always say it, and I do care. That's exactly why I say it. I do care.
I'm
And then I
kidding.
sit here almost like waiting for a response, but I'm like, nobody's
That's the
gonna
first sign of
respond.
insanity, right? Is talking to yourself. The
Yeah,
second sign is waiting for the response. Ooh.
yeah. I do already answer myself, so it's fine. We all know this. It's okay. Anyway, I digress.
So
what are we talking about today?
Today's topic of conversation, we're going to be talking about meditation. So before we kick off, let's do this first. Or to take it up a notch, let's do a little bit of...
Beautiful.
So nice.
I love singing bowls. They're so beautiful.
So good. I literally have this dream of one day owning like a whole truckload of them and just like doing some sound therapy, sound bathing. Oh, that's another type of... Okay, let's not get ahead of myself. Cool. So basically, purpose of this episode. So obviously we're Witchin and Bitchin the podcast. So yes, we're talking about meditation. And now while some of you listening might be thinking, what's that got to do with witchcraft? But it has a very valid use. So we're going to touch on that at the end though.
Yeah.
So you have to stick around for that one. And we also have some outros that I'm going to be tacking onto the end of this episode. Not outros, but like bloopers or like, unseen footage, like outtakes, all that kind of stuff, which is hilarious. So you'll have to wait till the end of the episode for that as well. So we're going to be talking about the who, what, when, where, why, how of meditation.
Maybe we should also start with, because I know this is something that you have mentioned before, and I like the way that you explain it, is also a little bit of myths about what meditation actually is.
Okay, so meditation is sitting on a cushion on a rock in the middle of the Himalayas and having no thoughts. No, I'm joking. I'm totally joking.
But isn't that the perception that we have, though? That's kind of the perception that we're giving, that we've been given.
Yeah, everyone literally, like when I tell people I meditate, they go, you?
Oh, really?
You meditate? I'm like, what does that even mean?
I know, it's like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I meditate? What's that?
Because they literally think that you have to be a monk or you have to have this like kumbaya, rainbows and bunnies and love and light and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't need to do all that stuff.
No.
I mean, obviously I'm kind of decked out in the garb today, but whatever. But anyway, so let's just start off with so what
meditation isn't,
is not. Yes, I was having a Yoda moment. What meditation not is? what? So what meditation isn't? So if I could find that person that went around the world telling everyone that meditation is having complete absence of thought and just having no thoughts, like I wish I could just find them so I could bitch slap them, because like it's far from the truth, guys. Like just the concept of having no thoughts is still a thought.
Yeah, it is.
Like don't think. Like telling your brain not to think is the same as telling your heart not to beat. So let's do a quick exercise as a group.
Okay.
So on the count of 3, I'm going to count you in, but on the count of 3, I want you to tell your heart to stop beating. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you're still alive.
And if anybody did succeed, please start it again.
yes. But yeah, so it's like one of those things that your brain will think involuntarily, just the same as your heart will beat involuntarily. So it's like the whole concept of meditation is to just allow the thoughts to be. So an analogy that I love is picture yourself on an 8-lane highway. You have 4 lanes going one way and 4 lanes going the other direction. I won't say which direction they're going because people in the Americas and everywhere else will probably be going different ways to us.
Everybody's going different.
Yeah, let's not go there. So, so there's 4 going one way, 4 going the other way. So to meditate, it's being able to stand on the edge of that highway and allowing the cars to pass you without tuning into any one car. So it's without paying attention to the speed of the cars, the size of the cars, the shape of the cars, the color of the cars, how many people are in the cars, which direction they're traveling. Like you're just allowing the cars to pass.
Yeah.
and not tuning in on or focusing on any one of those cars. That's
Yeah.
meditation. So
Yeah.
in this analogy, the cars represent your thoughts. So you allow the thought to just
Go.
happen
Yeah.
without judgment and just let it be.
Mm.
So yes, that's
I
what
love
I
that.
want you to think
Yeah,
of.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
good. I like that because that's what it is, isn't it? It's just that allowing things to just pass by, because the more we try to
Mm-hmm.
stop them, and it's even the same using that same analogy, if you start to try to stop all those cars, all of a sudden they're all just going to start backing back. They're not actually
Mm-hmm.
really going to stop. They're actually just going to keep piling one up after the other. So we can't stop them,
No, no, not at
just not
all.
getting attached to it, becoming that observer.
So I guess before we get into the different types of meditation, maybe let's
Mm,
just touch on like what are the reasons why if some people are listening to this and they're thinking, well, why should I bother meditating? Aside from the witchy
mm,
stuff, let's just focus on the
yeah.
main stuff. So what are some of the reasons why you meditate, Vicky?
So for me, relaxation,
Mm-hmm.
to de-stress,
Mm-hmm.
um, to kind of let those thoughts settle a little bit, because being an air sign, I am a little bit in my head at times.
No, really?
No, not at all. And that brings me to another analogy that I really love as well. And I cannot remember where it's from. I know it's definitely not mine. And it's from an amazing song that I often will listen to if I meditate as well. It's a poem. But you kind of imagine that your brain is like a glass of muddy water. If you don't stir it or shake it and you just let it sit there, eventually all the sand will come to the bottom and the water will become clear. And that's kind of why I do meditation, is to try to find that clear spot in my brain. There's also like the relaxation response, the fight flight, just to calm the stress down, things like that. But yeah, and then also, of course, there's also the other side of it, the more spiritual side of why I do it.
Mm-hmm.
But also to center and to ground and to connect into myself as well, because we can have so much external things going on all the time that it's really hard sometimes to just take a moment and actually come back into yourself and bring that energy back. So
Yep.
that's probably some of the reasons I do it.
Well,
I
for
think that's
me,
probably most of them, but
I
yeah.
think yeah, you and I are very similar in like it
Yeah.
depends on the day as to what type of
Yes.
meditation I'll do because they all have
Yes.
various different purposes. I
That's
guess
right.
one of the biggest ones that I've been doing of late is that I have used meditation as a tool to fix insomnia. So in
Yes.
actual fact, one of
Yeah.
my favorite
Yeah.
authors or like public speakers, thought leaders in the area is actually Emily Fletcher. She has this amazing book. It's called Stress Less and Accomplish More.
Ooh,
So,
beautiful.
and I'm not paid to say this. I like the book. So basically, and she also runs the Ziva School of Meditation in New York.
Yeah.
And she talks like one of her main stories being a Broadway princess, well, not princess, but Broadway star. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
she was suffering from a lot of insomnia. And when she found meditation, she finally was able to find a cure for her insomnia. So I
Mm,
use it for that practice as well as, I don't want to go too deep on the detail, but basically for stress, also there's two different types of stress. So there's
yes.
in the moment stress,
Yep.
like car, like traffic, you're going to be late to work, that kind of in the moment stress. Or there's like long term stress,
Yep.
chronic stress that can build up over
Yep. It
years.
keeps going and
So
going.
yeah, where some practices like mindfulness are good for the in the moment stress,
Yes.
other like deeper meditation practices are better for the long term stress. So especially in today's society and the way that we're geared, like we live in a high stress
No.
environment. Like
Yeah. Like just
everything's
on the
instant
go.
gratification. You get text
Yes.
messages, phone calls, Facebook pop-ups. Like everything is just
Yeah.
everything around you is trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
And we're
So
spread
much.
so thin that we have the same, like, okay. All I'm going to say to you is this, because I'm not a doctor, but I'll say to you this. If you want to do your
Yes.
research, all you have to do is just Google the effects of adrenaline and cortisol on the immune system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you will thank me now for the fact that we're telling you to meditate.
Yeah.
Because,
Definitely.
yeah, because of the fact that for me, when I go through meditation, it's a way of reducing the stress response in the body. And it's also a way of reducing the cortisol in the body, which obviously has a flow on effect because like as a health coach, like I'm constantly telling people to have a mindful meal, which is
Yeah.
where they're going through all of the senses. So they're looking at the meal, smelling their meal, tasting their meal, feeling the textures, listening to the sounds when they're slurping the spaghetti or whatever it might be. Like you having a mindful meal,
Yeah.
because if you are eating in a stress response, like how many times have you gone, oh, I'm really stressed, I'm going to eat something.
Yeah. Yep.
Eating in a stress response tells your body, okay, I only have so much energy. So rather than sending that energy to digest, I'm going to send that energy to fight or flight.
Yeah, that's right. Because when you're in
because
that
I'm
flight or
stressed.
fight response, digestion is seen as a non-essential function for the
Pretty
body.
much.
So you don't, it's not, you're not doing anything with it.
Exactly. So that's obviously, so there's that that type of thing as well that we need to touch on. But anyway, let's get to the different types of meditation, because there are so many.
There's so many. And I mean, this list by all means is not exhaustive either.
No.
Like there's just, I don't know, there's millions of different ways. So maybe some of them are mantra.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a really good one as well, especially if you struggle to find that quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Giving the brain something to do is
Mm-hmm.
really good. That's still a nice mindful space to do it in. Mindfulness, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Visualization type of meditation, like the guided visualizations, which that kind of opens up a whole can of worms just on its own.
Yeah, because you've got like journeying, the chakra balancing, chakra healing, all of that kind of,
all
you could do
past
life, path working. Yeah, exactly. There's so many just in that.
Just in that little thing. Then you've got for self-inquiry, if you're looking for answers and things within. Then we also can go to the movement-based ones as well, which
I know you use in your wheelhouse.
I do, because I do yoga and things like that. I find yoga a very meditative, moving through, because you're flowing with.
Whereas I don't.
I know.
I find it stressful. It's like do a downward dog. I know what?
Why? What am I doing?
And they're like, okay, now get into your now go through chaturanga to your savasana, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Where am I going? By the way, you just said chaturanga, which is like the push up to go into corpse pose at the end. I would love to see you do that transition. That would be...
chaturanga into savasana.
Yeah.
Backflip.
Okay, we're going. But yeah, so for me though, I do find that though, once I'm in the flow and I'm just doing it myself, not necessarily always in a class, but like just that movement and the breath, I just find that really meditative. And you can, even if like yoga's not your thing, tai chi, qigong, all of those types of actions where it can be really clearing, and it can even be something as simple as a walking meditation. Meditating as you're walking, observing what you're walking, each individual step that you take, just being completely present and aware in all of those sort of each sensation, I guess, as you go through.
I was gonna say, one of the things that my meditation coach has taught me, because I'm actually studying a course to be a qualified meditation instructor, because like whilst I meditate myself, being able to meditate is one thing, being able to teach someone how to meditate, completely different set of skills needed. But anyway, so my coach, one of the things she said to me with walking meditation, because I actually had to do that for one of my assignments, was to, it's like going outside and going for a walk and looking at the world as if you're looking at it for the first time, or with a childlike wonder. So when you look at the tree, you're looking at the smoothness or the roughness, you're looking at the colors and textures, you're looking at the patterns, like, and then you glance up the tree and you start to look at all of the branches and which direction they go, and then which ones has leaves and what the leaves look like and which way they're blowing in the breeze, and the smell of them, and like it's like just looking at it like you've never seen a tree before,
which is amazing, because the thing is we fly by things so quickly that we don't pay attention anyway to things that are. So not only is it a beautiful meditative practice, it's also a really beautiful way of connecting with nature or connecting with your surroundings and things as well.
Absolutely.
And, so and dance. I forgot about dance.
I mean, I forgot about dance. I'm the freaking dancer here.
The dancer. But yeah, like that ecstatic. I mean, there's a whole form of trance work and things like that, which is all through ecstatic dance and all of that sort of stuff. So
because it's like, and it's funny you should say trance, because like back in my younger days. So I was known to go to quite a few trance clubs, which is that whole anyway.
But I mean, what is that beat though? Isn't that
trance music? It's
just like
it's to lose yourself in the music, and you just
it's that constant beat that just allows the mind to just go off.
Exactly, because it's like it never ends. Like you literally go to the club, it's constant music until you leave, or until you get kicked out, or until the sun comes up.
When you kind of blindly,
when the sun comes up and you're like, the sun's up, let's go home. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so I guess then the next question is like, because obviously there's so many different types. So obviously, they originate from different places as well. So
Yes.
you've obviously got Eastern style practices, which is more your monastic or monk style meditations, which is where you're like kind of clearing the mind and just being really present. And so it's where mindfulness comes from. But then you also have the breath work, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mantras and all that. So, but then you have the Western style meditation, which is more the active brain style of meditation, where and I think that almost is testament to our style of living.
It is, isn't it?
Because
it
in the
is
West,
a little bit,
we're constantly stimulated and we need
Yes.
constant stimulation to focus.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Eastern, well, not everyone, but in a lot of Eastern countries, they tend to, well, I believe that it's a simpler life and it's a less chaotic. Like, you know,
that external. It's not as external, like we were saying before. That like the West, we kind of need something. You need something a bit more active to be able to actually start to slow down. And again, I guess one thing that to also to point out is that often meditation is called a practice, and there's a reason for that. That it's a practice. It's a big practice that's going to go on for the rest of your life. So it's not, don't expect the very first time you do it to be able to just go off to some amazing place and you've reached nirvana or whatever. Like it's literally each time all you're trying to do. This is one thing I do say in like yoga classes and things like that, is all we're trying to do is extend that time between when the thought comes and when you found that you've attached to a thought, kind of thing. We just try to extend that gap a little bit. Exactly. And it'll come. It's a practice. And
it's the same thing, because like yoga is called a practice and meditation is called a practice. So all these things that are called practices, it's because you are doing that. And it's like, to quote Emily Fletcher, because I love her so much. She says, like, you don't meditate to become good at meditating. You actually, we meditate to become better at life.
Yeah, better at living. Yeah, that's so true.
It's because by being able to, because they always say, like, okay, so my coach, Kate, she used to say to me, like, I'm trying to think how she worded it. Like, I used to say to her, like, oh, I didn't have time to meditate today.
Isn't that the biggest thing?
And then she'd be like, you do. And she used to say to me something along the lines of, if you don't have 1 minute to meditate, then you need 5. If you don't have 5 minutes to meditate, you need 10. If you don't have 10 minutes to meditate, you need half an hour. If you don't have half an hour, you need an hour. If you don't have an hour, then you need 3 hours. I was like, what are these arbitrary numbers? Like, what are you talking about? And she was saying to me that because when you meditate, it's not that you get that time back, but you kind of do. Because if you go into it with a clouded thought, with so many thoughts going through, so clouded brain with so many thoughts going through it and so much brain fog and everything else like that, what would normally take you after meditation, it would normally take you an hour to complete. Without meditation, could take you like 10 hours to complete. And it's funny because it would actually, now that I make time to meditate, I'm so much more productive. Like, I can get all my chores and shit done in next to nothing.
I know. Whereas before you kind of think, oh, I literally don't have time. I'm constantly
because you're distracted.
Because you just can't focus on that one thing.
You're on this hamster wheel, and then you keep grabbing like distraction.
I'm like a magpie. Oh, shiny. Ooh, shiny. Ooh,
exactly.
Shiny.
Exactly. So okay. So on that note, then, so when do you meditate, Vicky?
Personally, I meditate in the morning, usually first thing in the morning.
As in, you've just woken up, you're not even out of bed yet?
No, I'll usually get up, but I literally just get up and I go. I've got a little space that I go to that I've created, and I'll get up and go. Usually, maybe I'll get a drink before, a glass of water or something, but that's pretty much one of the first things that I do in the morning, because I find if I kind of start my day without that, I really notice the difference.
Oh yeah.
Like how, just the flow of the day. I don't know, and it can be completely different. Some days I might be quite a long one, or other days it might literally be there for like 5 minutes or whatever, if it's a bit of a busy day. But I usually do it in the morning, and then I also try to, even if it's just a little bit, just before bed as well. So the two ends of the day.
2 ends of the day. You like to bookend your day. Meditation.
Yes, that's it.
So for me, it's like, okay, this is going to sound quite sad now that I list it out. So I meditate first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Then I usually try to meditate at least once in the middle of the day. It's like my midday reset is what I call it. And then I like to meditate in the afternoon.
Yep. Look at you.
And then I like to meditate before bed. So at least 4 times a day. Now, obviously, I'm not sitting there spending.
Nerd.
It's not like I'm spending like an hour per meditation. But
No, that's
like,
right.
it's literally depending on what I'm trying to achieve and depending on how I wake up and all that. And also, if I have to go somewhere and I get stuck in traffic, as soon as I get to the destination, before I switch off my car, actually, no, not before. I switch off the car, but then before I step out of the car, I meditate.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's that quick, like 3 to 5 minute mindfulness.
Yep.
So that I can clear my mind of all of the road rage and traffic and people cutting me off and, hey, arsehole, get in your own fucking lane and all that other shit that goes with it.
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
it's like, oh, quick, let's sneak over here.
You know what I mean? So, like, because driving in traffic can be stressful. And it's like, and usually, and because I work for myself, so I work from home. So when I'm driving somewhere, it's normally because of like, shit, I gotta go to the gym, I've got a class to teach, like, and then you're driving and and you're trying to get there, and then everyone. And do you know the funniest thing is, I find that when I drive in an erratic state and I'm in a rush, it takes me longer to get there.
I know it does.
Whereas if I literally put on my meditation music and I zen the fuck out while I'm driving, I will literally be. Well, firstly, I'll be zen as fuck when I get there.
It'll be great when you get in your labs. You'll just be floating in the door. It'll be fine.
I literally feel like time has stood still, and I look at the clock and the time that I get there, and I've usually got like 10, 15 minutes buffer.
And do you find that like you're more alert and more sensitive to what's around 100%,
you? 100%. Okay, so firstly, if you're not skilled at meditation, I do not condone any form of meditative practice in a vehicle.
Yes.
Because if you don't know how to do it, it's dangerous. You should not operate machinery when meditating.
No.
Caveat. I've been meditating for over 20 years. And when I say meditate, it's when I'm driving a car, I'm not closing my eyes and going, hum, and all of this when I'm driving. Like, you know, I'm not getting out my cushion and like
present,
playing with my mala beads and whatever else. No. For me, the act of meditation, like I can have my eyes open and I'm very aware of my motory senses. That's not a word.
Senses. What are they?
You know what I mean? Like my motory.
Yes,
what's the word I'm looking for? Like,
I can't think what it is either. But your motor skill,
motor skills, yes.
Motor skills.
I'm aware of what my body's doing, and I'm actually hyper aware. So I can preempt cars coming in and out of my peripherals from behind me without looking in my without doing a head check. And I'm not saying that I don't head check, I do, but like
no. But
I
it's
can
that
sense
benefit
them.
of it. Yeah, that's right. It's the benefit of it. It creates that heightened awareness.
Exactly.
And even just having this talk now, like when you ask me, I do it at the bookending of the day, but I use breath a lot. And I hadn't even really because I didn't call that meditation. But I do that quite a bit. The same similar kind of thing where you say where you're going,
a breath.
I stop and I'll take say 5 breaths or something like that, like 5 really full breaths, and then that just helps to calm everything down, and then I can go into wherever I was going. Or
let's turn this into a teachable moment, shall we? No, seriously, let's turn this into a teachable moment. So let's like, for those listening now, obviously if you're in a vehicle, I ask that you pull
please
over.
Don't. Yes.
Pull over for this. If you want to participate in this, actually pull over. I'll give you a moment. I'll wait. No,
are you done yet? Are you over?
Just push pause or tell Siri to pause the podcast for you. Siri, pause the podcast. I need to pull over. But yeah, so let's do a quick. So this is what we mean when we say just focusing on the breath. So we're just going to do this is a quick reset that I teach my clients actually when I'm coaching them to fix the stress response. So we'll just do 5 mindful breaths. So in through the nose, hold, and out through the mouth. Let's do another one. In through the nose, hold, and out through the mouth. We have 3 more. In through the nose. Last one. I can't.
I'll do the last one.
I'm sorry. But anyway, so those
Get the
5
feeling.
simple breaths, that is all your body needs to oxygenate your cells and just flood yourself with oxygen. Now, some people might feel lightheaded doing that because you've probably just breathed so deeply and mindfully, and you've given yourself a flooding of oxygen that you normally don't do, because throughout the day, most people passively, like, they're like,
yeah, it was so shallow. It was so high up in the chest. One
Yeah.
really good way to find out like whether you're doing a nice deep breath or not is to just stop for a moment and just breathe, but being aware of where in your body you're breathing. If it's like up here near your collarbones that's moving, you're breathing very shallowly, or is it down more towards the belly?
So an easy way to do that would be to lay down on your back.
Yeah.
And just, I usually sit something on my stomach.
Yep.
Or you can just put your hands.
Just do one hand.
Just
yeah,
one hand on the top and one on the bottom.
bottom.
And then when you're breathing, notice if this hand's going up or if this hand's going up.
Yeah.
Because in meditation, it's that whole thing of diaphragmatic. Is it diaphragmatic?
Yes.
Yeah. Diaphragmatic breathing. So it's where you breathe through your diaphragm, which is basically the area just below the stomach, inside the body.
Is it below the stomach? Or
below, behind?
I'm not sure, but I know it's at the very base of the lungs. It's right up.
Yeah, it might be at the same. Yeah. Anyway, it's below the lungs, but around that stomach area. So it's like
kind of where the
rib cage goes up. Yeah, diaphragmatic. All I know is it's there. I create this whole thing to be my stomach.
I know, me too. I'm like, that's your stomach, but I'm actually like,
no, actually, organ-wise, stomachs.
Yeah, anyway, but your stomach's there.
We're talking stomach as in torso, stomach.
As in belly. Yes.
So, okay. So we've talked about the when do we meditate and when can we meditate. What about the where? Where do you meditate?
Well, you can meditate anywhere, really, as long as you're not driving a car. Please don't do it when you're driving a car unless you're very, very. Personally, I actually have a little space that I go to in my house.
Fancy.
Yes. It's really not. It's actually just at the end of our dining table, and I have a little tiny table down there, and I've got a cushion that I sit on. But I have a candle, and it's a little bit of an altar, and it's just a space that I always go to. But for me, that's also a really beautiful way of creating that trigger within the mind as well, that I'm sitting in this space, mind kind of goes, oh, that's right, we meditate here.
So you're kind of ritualizing your practice.
Yes, so kind of ritualizing it. And even that's also another really great way as well, if you want to incorporate that sort of stuff with your meditation, is to perhaps put on a scent or have some essential oils or incense or light a candle. Like all of those little things that kind of become that ritual becomes like a trigger in the mind, and it helps it to kind of calm down a little bit quicker. So I like to do it there, and sometimes otherwise, if it's a nicest kind of day and a nicest kind of morning, I like to go outside and sit in the backyard and do it. Listen anywhere where we are.
Sorry, just construction work in the background.
I was like, oh, am I not listening?
No. I was like, what's that noise? Like, because I have headphones on, so I couldn't.
So you can't hear anything else.
I thought it was something like in there. Anyway.
Yeah, so I have little spaces that I like to go to that are particular places. But then, like you said, it could be in the car when we're going somewhere or something like that. Do you have a particular, the where of meditating?
So first thing in the morning, I meditate in my bed. So before I even get up. Now, again, I've been meditating for a number of years. So it's some people, if they meditate in bed, either before or after sleep, they just fall back asleep.
Yeah.
But my brain, I've now taught my brain that it knows I'm awake now. This is meditation, not sleep.
Yes.
But that said, if I'm extremely tired,
doesn't matter.
I just allow it to happen. If I'm going to fall asleep, I allow it to fall asleep. Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, you need it.
But then, so that's where I do before and after, like when I first wake up and before I go to bed. But I also like to meditate. So I'm actually just going to scooch my butt up. I have my meditation cushion.
It's a bit fancy. I like it.
I actually bought this for myself for my birthday this year because
well done. That's awesome.
I had an isolation birthday.
Aww.
So I decided I needed to buy myself something pretty.
Yes.
And so because I'm doing my course in meditation, like I bought myself a cushion, and I also bought myself some mala beads. I know I'm wearing some, but these are some other ones that I bought. And they're sandalwood, so they smell delicious.
They smell nice. See, so it's the other thing where, because like this, our sense of smell is so connected.
To our memory. But I've meditated in the bath before.
Oh, yes.
So when I'm in the bath, I like to do a lot of past life. I do past life meditations in the bath because I don't know, just I'm a water baby. I'm Cancerian, so I really connect with water, and I'm very sensory and tactile. So just that feeling of being in nice warm water, it's just like
Yes.
So I've done it in the bath. I do it in the car. I do it in bed. I do it in this room that I'm in now. Like, have you gone dirty minded?
I'm so sorry.
I'm talking about meditation, and you've taken it to sex.
It's just the way you were saying it.
I do it in the bath. I do it in the bath. I do it in the car. I do it in the bed.
I'm sorry, Beltane's around the corner. That's what it is.
Oh my god, great.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I just completely ruined it.
You are fine. Just ruining my kumbaya zen moment.
I know, that was a very zen moment.
No, that's fine. It's fine. But yeah, so
So you meditate.
I meditate in many places. Yes. But what I really like to do is meditate in nature.
Yeah.
So I love to meditate in the sunshine or in the moon, like under a full moon. I love to meditate under a full moon. Or if I go to somewhere that I feel is very magical, like I love to go up. There's a place in the Dandenongs here in Melbourne. Yeah. And I love to go up to the Dandenongs and just find somewhere quiet to meditate. And actually, so here's the thing. Ooh. Every time we travel, which we're probably not going to be able to do for a while, I was going to say it's a little bit. But whenever we do travel, I love going to places of worship. And I love to meditate in places of worship. So I go into churches, synagogues, mosques, like whatever. Any temples, like whatever, sacred spaces. Sacred Obviously, space. I'm respectful. Like I follow, I observe the practices that are done at that particular place. But then I'll ask for permission if there's like someone who works there and just say, is it okay if I just sit quietly? Like I don't tell them, oh, can I meditate here? Because then they might think, what? So I just ask them, is it okay if I just, sit quietly and observe my thoughts and whatever? And okay, cool. Or if I'm in a church, I'll say, oh, do you mind if I just pray? Because to me, it's no different.
Well, that's it.
For some people anyway, because for me, prayer is just another form of like active meditation. It's like thinking about words and whatnot. But yeah, so I like to meditate in so many different places. But that said, it's not like there's a specific place and specific time and I need to have a specific cushion or specific beads or spraying specific things in the air, or like you can make it ritualistic.
Yes.
But it doesn't need to be all the hoopla.
No, you don't have to. See, I do those things in the morning because I find that that's a little bit of my sacred time. That's my time to.
It's making it sacred.
Space. Yeah, and it is. It's making it sacred. So I do all of those things and I add all those things to it. I mean, that said, though, if it's a really rushed morning or something, we've got to go somewhere, I'll just go sit outside. I might just go sit. We've got a chair at the back. I might just go sit there for 5 minutes or something. Yeah. Do you know, like it doesn't have to be. I don't have to have those things, but. That's for me. I like to create it.
I love a good half-hour sesh, though.
So do I.
I'm quite a fan of a good half-hour sesh. Or
I must admit, I actually get up early on purpose, earlier than the rest of my family, like my daughter and my husband. And I get up early for that reason, so that I can have that little bit of time that's just mine. And it's such an awful, horrible mum and wife thing to say, but I get so depressed and so sad and so angry when they wake up early and they're into my time. I'm like, this is my me time, people. Go back to bed.
I come into this room, which you guys can't see the rest of the room, but this is like my man cave / gaming room / podcast room / meditation room. Like it's the place where I do all the things. Yep. It's the room. Because even that, side note, for me, playing PlayStation is another form of active meditation.
Yeah, well, it is. And that's
a stress reliever.
It's a stress reliever. There's also like that whole the coloring, mandala coloring.
Oh, yes.
Like that. I just thought about that. We didn't even talk about that. But that's a whole other thing as well, where you're still active, but it's something that's just quietens the thoughts down a little bit.
So this is taking me on another tangent, because now you made me think of
tangents.
Yeah, we do. Everyone knows we like a good
tangent. I was going to say, we like
So one of the things that I really enjoy doing is I follow someone by the name of Katie Underwood on Facebook, and I don't know if you know their name.
I do know that name. Why do I know that name?
Where's the name Katie Underwood come from?
Was she one of those like pop stars?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
so she was part of Bardo.
Bardo, that's it. I was trying to think of they were.
Don't you treat me bad. Don't you make me sad. Anyway, Yeah, I'm not a singer.
We've got the special microphone.
Yeah, that's like
I feel like
my loneliness. Anyway, oh God, I digress.
Now we really got on a tangent, haven't we?
So, Katie Underwood, she does sound therapy sessions, and so I used to go to her sessions here in Mornington in Melbourne. So it's down on the peninsula. It's all hoity-toity and really lovely.
Yes.
But she used to do it in a yoga school, and like we would go there, and it would be this. I feel like it was 2.5 hours, or was it an hour and a half? I feel like it was 2.5 hours.
Often I think they are for like a couple of hours.
And so for sound therapy, the difference between that and normal meditation, like she still guided us through a meditation visualization work, but then she did a sound therapy where she uses a vocal looping machine. So where she pushes a pedal, she sings something into a microphone, pushes a thing, and it would just keep looping it, and then she loops something else over the top. So she ends up making it. I couldn't count, but there'd be like 7 or 10 versions of her singing in harmony with her.
Yeah.
And then she'd get out like a I don't know what else to call it other than a shamanic drum. Like it's one of those kind of very traditional hand stretched kind of leather drum. Yeah. She'd have one of those. She'd have singing bowls, crystal and metal. She'd have chimes. She'd have like all kinds of stuff, like the whole kit and caboodle. And I'd just be going there, and I would come out of there feeling like $1 million.
It's amazing, isn't it?
So
sound
good.
is just amazing.
To do this sound bath of just like the vibrations, and like this is the thing people don't understand. Like sound in itself, we could do a whole podcast just about it, because the vibrations of sound waves in the air has an impact on your cells and on your body and on your DNA regeneration, all that kind of stuff. That's why you do sound therapy. That's why you do sound baths. That's why you have sound healings. So even that's like with the singing bowls, when
it's the same
different
thing.
Notes, and the different notes equate to different things in the body, and
the different way that you like hit it, like when you did the big dong at the beginning, and
so
then
I've got this one. So that has a very different sound too. Oh, I normally don't stop them, but I'm going to. Don't forgive me, but then I'll put this one away from the microphone because it's quite loud if I hit it with a stick.
Yeah, don't hit.
Like that's very.
It is.
But then on the flip side, if I stop it, there's also a way of doing it with felt where you make it vibrate. So it's doing this.
You're going around in circles. Yeah, and see, that's a very different sound.
So I don't know what note this is. Because
I feel that very viscerally, like I can feel the whoop whoop like on my physical body. I know, I'm like, oh my God, that sounded so bad.
I know what you mean. It's like
because it's like that pulsing kind of.
So even when I meditate, like that brings me on to a whole nother topic. Like sometimes I listen to music that actually, here's a little side note. So for those that have listened to a few of our episodes now, you may notice that when we have a guest, I tend not to do this because there's 3 people and it's already like there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on auditorially, like you're listening to 3 different people talk and all that kind of stuff, and it can be a bit much sometimes. But when it's just the 2 of us, I overlay music, but I am very strategic on what music I put in there because it's always at a certain frequency. So sometimes I play music at like, oh God, now I can't think of them off the top of my head.
I'm trying to think. There's
432 or something, or 5. There's all different frequencies, and each one of those frequencies resonates with a different type of healing or different properties or helps with stuff. So like, exactly. So I'm overlaying various types of music in the background because it's a specific frequency which helps with specific things. And I always try to pair it with whatever the topic is. So for example, when we were talking about cleansing for Ostara. So I can't remember what it was now. I think it was like,
it's quite a high one, I think.
Was it 435? No. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know them all.
Yeah, I can't remember them.
I just look them up and I do it at the time. But so I put one that was all about cleansing because we were talking about cleansing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, But anyway.
And that's actually what my practice at the end of the day, or actually even both of them, I listen to a lot of that music now, like with the different frequencies and hertz, or maybe like with the drumming, or just instrumental kind of music. Or I'll sit there, I've got a drum and I've got one of those little cosmic tone drums as well. So I might sit there and do that too.
I was going to say something. No, that's not appropriate.
We've already gone.
No, this would have been no. Let's just not go
take
there.
It a whole never.
I was thinking of this whole drumming thing, and I was going to say something. Nope, that's not. I'm not from that culture. Okay. I'm not going to touch it.
No, just let that all go.
Yeah. So, So how does one meditate? So, I mean, obviously there's different types of ways that you can meditate.
Yeah.
Like what we took you guys through was literally just focusing on the breath and just
Mm.
slowing down the breath. I mean, obviously, my school that I learned from, which is the Australian Centre for Meditation and Mindfulness, say
Yep.
that 10 times fast.
I was about to say that's really
Yeah, Australian
good.
Centre for Meditation and Mindfulness. Oh, wait, have I said it the right way? Was it mindfulness and meditation? Oh, I never know which way the M&Ms
Oh.
are. The M&Ms. Oh god, now I'm talking about M&Ms.
M&Ms.
I never remember which way the
Which
M&Ms are
way?
because it used
It's
to be the
okay.
Australian Centre for Holistic Studies, but we've rebranded recently, so it's like
See, that
Australian
was a
Centre
lot
for
easier. What are they doing? That was a lot easier to
yeah,
remember.
but
I
mindfulness and
know.
meditation sounds
It
cooler.
sounds. It does. It does sound
Yeah.
cool.
Anyway,
But
so
that's okay. Either way.
I'm studying an advanced certificate in guiding and teaching meditation with those guys,
Yes.
and I'm actually close to graduating, which Vicky knows because
I do.
there's some days when I'm like, oh my god, I just need to do this assignment and I'm too stressed. And she's like, but isn't it on meditating? I'm like, yes, but I'm too stressed to meditate.
I'm too stressed. I'm like, no, you're not. You'll be fine.
Just do it.
Just do it.
But anyway, so there's a way that you can focus on the breath. There's also
Yep.
some people meditate through you can listen to guided meditations where you
Yep.
actually have someone guiding you through the process.
Mhm.
Oh, I was just thinking, do we share a link for bonus content of my recent relaxation meditation?
Oh, yeah. Why not?
How
Yes.
about to engage our audience? If you've listened this far and you want
Yes.
to receive some bonus content from me, I recently recorded a full body relaxation meditation. It goes for 28
Beautiful.
minutes. Thank you. I've got my Richard Verson voice. I'm like,
Does.
and allow the breath to slowly enter the body. It's like my David Attenborough.
Yes, that's right.
And here we see the wildebeest in its natural
Finally
environment. Anyway, I digress. So maybe, yeah, if you want to try my meditation out, then I want you to engage with us. Shoot me a message or stick a comment underneath the post, whichever platform you saw it on, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, and I'll private message you and I'll send you the link rather than just making it public. I want it so that you guys engage with us.
Yes.
So, and I'll just send it to you for free.
Yay, that's awesome.
So then you can try my full body relax meditation because there'll be more of those coming soon because I have to start getting my content out there.
Doing the rest of the content.
But yeah, so obviously the other things you can do for meditation. So there's the something that I do in every meditation I do. I always do a grounding, and that grounding exercise is by taking someone through the senses. So noticing the things that they can see around them. So just pausing for a moment. Literally, you could do this right now. So I want you to, wherever you are, just if you're near a window, or even if you're just sitting in a room with no windows, just look around the room and just notice the things that you can see. Don't focus on any one object, but as you're looking around the room, just notice the textures, the colors, the shapes, the light, the shadows, all that kind of stuff. Just paying attention to the things in the room around you. Now I want you to pay attention to the sounds around you. So perhaps it's just the sound of my voice or the music in the background. It might be some birds chirping, dogs barking. Maybe it's a partner in another room or a housemate or a child making noise outside. Whatever it is, just noticing what sounds there are. Now let's bring you to the sense of smell. So just with the next breath in, noticing what smells you have around you. So whether it's a burning candle, some incense. Obviously, I'm not doing that. This isn't a meditation way that I'm doing it. I would do it a lot slower than this, but just paying attention to all those smells that you can smell. Maybe it's lunch, dinner, whatever it might be.
Whatever might be there.
Now, with the next breath, I want you to just swallow and notice any tastes that are present in your mouth. Maybe it's a lingering taste from what you last ate or drank, or it could be the absence of taste. Maybe you've had so much water that there's no taste in your mouth. Just noticing what tastes are there. And then lastly, the sense of touch or feeling. So it's just noticing maybe it's how your bottom feels against the chair or against the floor, depending on where you are, or maybe you're laying down listening to us. Just feeling like noticing the contact points with wherever you're seated, or maybe you notice how your clothing or your jewelry feels against your skin. Just noticing the different tactile things around you. And that's just checking in with the senses like that, going through all of major five senses. That's a form of meditation.
Yeah.
So if you tell me, I don't know how to meditate, you just did.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just checking in and just being present in this moment. It's not being obsessed about the future. And it's not dwelling on the past. It's just being present. That's mindfulness, which is just being here and now.
Presence.
Yeah. So
I like that.
Let's connect the dots, shall we?
Yes, let's connect the dots, because there's a big part of our meditation that I guess hasn't been putting out there yet.
So, how does this all relate to living a magical lifestyle and being a witch?
Well, I think personally that it's actually the basis of all of it, to be honest. Because to be able to, because I mean, with meditation, especially for myself, I find it that it's bringing everything in. So it's bringing that attention in, it's finding that center, it's being grounded. And to do that, you can be connecting. So further on with the grounding, apart from the senses, I'll often imagine like a cord going down into Mother Earth and all of those kind of things as well. But it's really the basis of being able to talk to guides, being able to communicate with deity, being able to divination, all of those things. You need that clarity of mind and that centeredness that doing the meditation practice kind of brings.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. For me, like 100%. So whenever I'm like, before I teach tarot, because I actually teach classes all the time. So before I teach class, I always meditate to put myself in a meditative state, because then it allows that conduit or that flow with spirit to be like, it's tuning in. So for me, meditating before a class is my way of just fine tuning my radio signal so that I can communicate with spirit much more clearly. Like, it just kind of slightly fine tuning the radio signal so then I'm hearing all the information they're giving me, so I'm not being sidelined by other shit that I'm picking up on. So for me, divination, 100%. Same with any form of spirit work. So when I talk to my spirit guides, I constantly talk to them when I'm meditating. Constantly. And in actual fact, whenever I meditate, they like, oh, you're listening, quick. And they're like, oh, and you have to do this, and then you need to do that, and I've got an idea, and you need to talk about this. And it's like, guys, just zip it. Meditation first. I'll talk to you in a moment. Exactly. I don't know if anyone else resonates with this. If you have got sassy guides like I do, let me know in the comments or shoot me a message. I want to hear from you. If you have sassy guides, because one of mine, she knows you. She knows. She's all... I've spoken about her a couple of times on a couple of episodes now, but she is the sassiest thing ever. And now she's laughing at me for calling her sassy.
I was about to say.
She loves that. She loves that title because, anyway, she's totally sassy. But yeah, so there's that. And there's also like checking with your higher self.
Yes.
So for me, meditative state means like when I'm in my meditation mindset, it's a way of me going, is what I'm doing the most productive thing I can be doing now? And is this in alignment with who I want to be?
Yes.
Like, it's that whole thing of just channeling into self and going, is what I'm doing, like, is this productive? And is this in alignment with who I'm meant to be or what I'm trying to become or whatever it might be? Because oftentimes we get so caught up in the stress response to things. If you just stop and, like, even when I'm having an argument with my partner, if he says something to me and then the knee-jerk reaction is to bite back or to clap back or to whatever, like text message back or whatever it might be.
To react rather than
respond. But now I'm trying to get myself into a habit of going, and then I respond.
That's right.
Because I can guarantee that one breath is enough to nip that knee-jerk response off. Just nip it in the bud. And then the other thing for me, it's also about the magical mindset. Like when I'm doing, not that I'm a big fan of the whole ritual side of witchcraft, because for me, to be honest, I'm in this day and age, I've got so many things on the go that to actually sit there and say, I'm going to spend the next 2 hours in ritual. That means I have to carve out a huge chunk of my day. But when I do, to me, the ritual mindset or the magical mindset is, like, first, I like to say it, like, I don't know if there's any science behind this. If you are someone who's very science minded, I know that you have your waking state is what we call beta waves.
Yeah,
so the beta brain waves. Then your meditative state is your alpha brain waves. So it's like taking it to that, like, I think they're slower. I know that there's
theta,
delta, and then theta. Is it delta and theta, or is it theta and then delta?
Delta and then theta. So it's alpha, beta, I don't know if there's something else or whether it's delta, then theta. So those last two, I think, is where the intuition and stuff starts to really come in.
Yeah, because when you get yourself to theta brainwaves, and I know we just went all science on you, and you're probably thinking, what the hell are they talking about?
But it up with me, but there is a good book that actually explains it all very well. But that's where the psychic senses and where all those different things can come into it, because where the mind clutter isn't there.
And the way to get to that is just by practicing meditation. So you just need to do it. It's not a matter of, like, as I said, we don't meditate to become good at meditating.
No.
We meditate to become better at life. And as witches, we meditate to become better at being magical beings.
Yeah. And another point I just thought of as well that I didn't mention is also in your magical work, you need to be focused and very clear on what you want to be doing, especially if you're doing spell working and those types of things. So that meditative state and being able to be very clear and centered and not have a random thought pop into your head while you're trying to do something, it's going to dampen down the magic a little bit if you're.
And also, it's that distraction, because remember that spell work is that focused intention.
Yeah, that's right.
And if your attention is unfocused, then who knows what the hell you've just put out there.
Yeah, that's right. Then your work is going to be just as unfocused. So if you want that sort of stuff to work, and I mean, I guess if you go into manifestation and all of that side of things as well, like it's that same thing. It needs to be focused. So to be able to focus the mind, meditation practice is what helps to train us to do it.
Because I've actually met a couple of witches, and I said to them, so what's your meditation practice like? Because it's something, and they're like, meditation? I don't meditate.
Yeah.
What? What do you mean? Like, and that's not from a judgment place, by the way, guys, because I don't judge others, but like each to their own. But to me, it's part of living a magical life. Like I remember there was an acronym that I heard from, now I don't know if it's from him or whether he was quoting someone else, but Devin Hunter. I was listening to his podcast once because I love his podcast. And I think it's called The Modern Witch. Is it The Modern Witch?
Yes, I think it is.
I'm pretty sure it's called The Modern Witch, by Devin Hunter. So I've contacted him to see if we can get him on the show one day, because I think he'd be amazing to bring on here. A bit of a cross collaboration. But anyway, so I remember he did an episode once, and he was talking about how to, I think I saw it on YouTube, it was how to bring magic into every day without overthinking it, without overplaying it. And he literally used the word magic as an acronym. So M is for meditation.
Yep.
A is for affirmation. G is for grounding. I is for inquiry. And C is for checking in. Yes. So meditate every day, do your affirmations every day, do your grounding every day, so you're not always up in the fairies and la 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 and whatever else.
Yep. Air sign.
What? Yeah. If you're an air sign, you need to ground more than ever.
We need to ground.
Yes. And then inquiry is basically divination, so asking questions of spirit, and checking in is like checking in with your spirit guides, with your deities, with your higher self, with your high consciousness, with your essence, yourself. Your being, like whatever you want to call that. So it's like if you're able to do those 5 things every day, then you're living a magical lifestyle. Or magical life. So I that really resonated with me, and it stuck with me ever since I heard him say it, and I love it because it just tick 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 tick, perfect.
Yeah, it does.
So
how do we go?
Have we covered everything? I
think we might have covered it.
Actually, let's just very quickly. So we have these mala beads.
We don't. I brought mine too.
Yes, we have these mala beads. I have 3 pairs.
See, he's going to have one on me. I've only got one. Mine's a big long one.
I have like other ones too. I know, but I thought I'll just bring these 3. Because these are the ones I was wearing. Because these are like I think I think it's a type of jasper. This one, whereas these ones are sandalwood.
Which would smell amazing.
Oh, they so do. Anyway, so mala beads is another thing that if you're a fidgety person, mala beads is like the Eastern equivalent of, I guess, a rosary. If you're of a Judeo-Christian belief background, you may have a rosary lying around. It's the same principle. So it's where you basically have the mala over your hand, and as you grab a bead and you repeat a mantra. So one of my favorite ones is Om Mani Padme Hum. So it's from Buddhism. Yeah. And actually I have, so this is Tibetan. I've actually got Hum tattooed on my
yeah,
left shoulder for anyone that's watching on YouTube. So that's hum.
Yeah.
So, oh God. To explain what does Om Mani Padme Hum would take us a whole bloody episode. So let's not go there
So
because it's
let's
a
not go there.
very deep thing. But
So
basically,
and you don't have to use a specific mantra.
No.
Yeah, or even a mantra at all.
No.
Like if you're just like sometimes I will just literally just move them in my hand.
Just move them in your head.
Yeah.
I know other people that just use like affirmations. They literally instead of saying mantras, they just say like, I am love, relaxed. I am relaxed, I am peace, I am joy, I am happiness. And they say a different one for each mala bead. And you're basically just pushing it with your thumb to slowly work your way around the entire. So you just keep going. I'm going really fast right now. Like it wouldn't be that fast. And then it's said that when you get to the other end, you can either stop or you flip it around and you go back the other way.
That's it.
Because it's supposed to be 108 successions.
Yeah.
So there's 108 beads. 108 so it's exactly 108 successions of the mantra over and over. So if you're a fidgety person,
it's a really
having that in your hand just gives you something to focus on because you're moving the beads one at a time and you're just going around in a little circle. And
if you don't have mala beads, if you've got like a bracelet, like one of the crystal bead bracelets or anything like that, you can use those as well.
Oh, sorry, these are my special beads. It's funny you should bring that up.
One. I know.
So these ones are actually
segue.
These ones are also sandalwood because I love sandalwood. Anyway, so these ones are actually so they're from the Shaolin monastery in Dangfang in China.
Yeah.
So which most people know the Shaolin monks because they're kung fu monks.
I was going to say they're the ones that often
they do all the fighting and stuff like that. Yeah, so they travel the world doing all that stuff. But I love the Shaolin monks, and so I went to their temple in China in 2011. And for me, it was important to give a donation to the temple for the upkeep and everything else like that, and also for food for the monks and whatever. And in return, they gave me these beads, and they are like my prized possession. No one's allowed to touch them because they just smell divine. And and like because it's real sandalwood, when you put them on your body heat permeates the smell.
Yes, they just slowly start to come out. Oh, that's.
But yeah, you could literally sit there and do that with these. You could just go through the beads and go around this little thing.
And another thing I like to do as well is a crystal. Like if you have a particular crystal.
We didn't even talk about that.
Oh, we did it. Yeah, like all of those kind of things are really great. Often, like I have at the moment, I've got 2 pieces of green opal, which I've been really connected, and I find them really grounding. They're 2 palm stones, and I just hold them in my hand, and sometimes my hands will move over, fingers will move over them, but just holding them and also having that little gentle weight is also really great for grounding.
I need to take my headphones off for a sec just because I'm going to put another prop on.
Do it,
aren't you? Hang on.
Oh, yes. I forgot about this thing.
So,
what's it
this
called
thing
again?
that I've just put on my head is called a muse.
So for those who aren't watching it, it goes all the way around his forehead like a crown.
It's like a headband almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a headband.
Sweatband.
It's basically like a sweatband, but it's actually, so it's got a
it's got little sensors in there though, hasn't it?
Yeah, so basically, actually, now that I've got it on, you can't see it. Let me just take it off again. I should have thought about that before I put it on. But anyway, so you position it on your forehead, but on the inside, so it's got these sensors that are that touch your skin.
Yeah.
And then it's also got ones on the band itself that go over your ears. So you've got these ones.
So it's basically got little sensors the whole way around.
Yeah, so it's got these ones on the front here, and then it's got the ones that touch your ears. So basically, and then it's got this big microchip thing that you charge up. So you connect this to charger to charge it up, but then it just like sticks in there. So when this is on your head, it connects to your phone, and then because I'm a geek, we all know I'm a geek, and because I'm studying meditation as a profession, like to actually teach this stuff, I'm always a skeptic about anything that claims anything. I need the science behind it to prove it.
Yep.
As in, I believe things. Like I don't have to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it to see it, but then I like to back it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I like to be able to prove what I've done.
Yeah.
Which is why when I do a tarot reading, I write down or take a photo of every reading I ever do, and then I reflect on it when those things happen or don't happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it just gives that little bit of credibility to
exactly. So for me, like I put this on, And it's funny because while we're doing this talk about meditation, my phone lit up and I looked and it said Muse and it reminded me because
it's time to
telling
meditate.
me that it's time to meditate because I have it set to a specific time each day.
That's good.
But anyway, so when I put this on, it connects to my phone and then, okay, so I either choose to listen to what it's doing, which is it does a dynamic guidance system. Now, what I mean by that is you can have it set to either like a beach or, beach. There's like a city park. There's a desert. Like there's all these different themes. And basically, when you're wearing it, if you're doing a mind meditation, because there's different styles of meditation, but if you're doing a mind meditation, which is all about calming the mind, the more active your thoughts are, the louder and more stuff is going on in the feedback.
So it actually adjusts itself to whatever your mind is kind of doing or what.
Because in this sensor, it's actually sensing your heart rate, it's sensing your brain waves, it's sensing your movements. So if you're moving your head around a lot, it's sensing like so many different things at once. It's got an EEG in it and everything. Like it's sensing everything.
Amazing.
It was expensive, but it was my birthday present from my friends. So they all pitched in because I was having an isolation birthday. So
see, that's beautiful.
But yeah, so it was basically as it's sensing all these things, if my mind is calm, like for example, the main one, it's like got like rain falling.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the calmer your mind gets, the rain eases and eventually it stops. And then you can hear birds chirping and stuff because the birds have come out because it's not raining. But then if you start thinking again, then the rain gets heavier and eventually it turns into a thunderstorm if your brain's going everywhere. So like that's a way of like, because you're actively hearing it. So you're like, oh, I'm thinking too much. And it's like calm. So you're getting that instant feedback.
That's awesome.
Well, I thought that at the first, but then when it was telling me how shit I was doing at meditating,
I was about to say.
I was like, ah! Because I used to say, oh, I'm so good at meditating. Oh my God, I'm amazing. Like I can meditate anywhere. And then this thing says to me, no, you can't.
No, you can't. It's thunderstorms over here.
So, but yeah, so that's another, like there's so many tools like this.
Yeah,
I love Muse. So I use this one. There's other styles too. This one you can actually wear to sleep in.
Oh, cool.
So this one specifically is made to be able to, like you can just put it on and nice you can go to sleep with it on. And they've actually got like sleepscapes as well that you can listen to.
Oh,
so, sleepscapes is like, so it like to help you go to sleep. Yeah. So it's like you can listen to it and it kind of guides you into a, whatever. But anyway, so that's if you want to go the geeky route. In short, like I'm a geek. Let's just call it what it is.
I love it.
I mean, you don't need all these things, guys. You can just.
No, that's it. It's all like you can just sit and breathe.
I mean, by all means, if you want to buy the cushion and the mala beads and the I was gonna say the gong, the singing bowl and the muse and the sprays and the incense and the da-da-da, and knock yourself out and be a big Dalai Lama on a cushion in your house, then go nuts.
But I mean, I guess what it all boils down to is beginning to know yourself a little bit better and what is going to work best for you, because there's no one size fits all when it comes to meditation. And I know that that's often what we kind of think. We have this perception that meditation is one thing, but it's really about finding whatever works best for you. And even my own personal practice, it changes each day depending on what I'm doing. Like some days I can lay there and just listen to a little bit of music and I'm off straight away. But then other times I'm laying there, I'm still moving, I'm fidgeting. So then I know that I need to get up and do like a more movement-based kind of meditation or things like that. So yeah, so it's really just about finding those things, give everything a try, do with a nice open mind and just find what resonates best for you.
And I guess that's the key thing, is that with meditation, it's the art of not judging oneself.
Yes,
so
that's it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter
if expectation.
Because most people, they say, I can't meditate. I'm like, have you ever tried? Yeah, I did. I tried once. I'm like, have you tried again? No, just once. I'm like, no. You kind of need to do it more than that, because it's a practice. So you need to just do it regularly and repeatedly. Is that a word?
I know what you mean. I think
so.
I mean.
You just need to keep doing it and keep practicing until you get better at it.
And you'll get better at it without even realizing it.
It's like playing it's like playing the violin.
Yeah, that's right. Like you don't expect the first time you pick it up to be able to do a big symphony song. I don't even know what they're all called, but like an amazing song being able to do the whole thing. You can't. You know that you have to learn, do different practices, do little bits every day, and then eventually, without realizing it, you'll be able to play something.
I'm pretty sure the first month, at least, every time I picked up the violin, it sounded like a cat being pulled by the tail. It was horrible. My mum's like, "How long are you going to be doing this thing for?" I'm like, "I'm trying to give it a go."
No, not in my house.
So I didn't. Violin was not one of my fortes. It did not stay long in my house. No. Mum did not approve. Anyways, so I think that's all for today's episode.
I think we have. I think we've kind of covered it all. And if there's anything else you want to know, or different practices that you do, we would really love to hear it. Like, hear what you do.
Lastly, if you're a geek and you want to read, I've just got a couple of my favorite books. So I'm going to show them to you guys on YouTube. So we have one of my favorite authors. So we have Stress Less, Accomplish More. So this is by Emily Fletcher. So she has the creator of Ziva Technique and the founder of Ziva Meditation. We also have, now this one is by John Kabat-Zinn. So this one's Mindfulness for Beginners. So John Kabat-Zinn has some really great meditations out there. You can even go to YouTube, and a lot of these authors have meditations on YouTube.
I use a lot of them.
So this one is called Aware. It's a science and practice of presence. So it's not specifically about meditation, but it's about being present. So this one is Daniel Siegel. Then you like this guy, David G.
I love David G.
This one's The Secrets of Meditation by David G.
Yes. He has the very deep radio late announcer voice.
Yes. And then this was one that I'm reading at the moment because I'm doing a module for my course on Buddhist psychology and mindfulness. And so this one is called The Wise Heart by Jack Cornfield. So he's another quite well-known person in the meditation field. So, I mean, there's obviously tons of others as well. These are just a couple of the books that I have.
An app that I always suggest to a lot of people is Insight Timer, because it's a free app. And it's got hundreds and hundreds of meditations on there.
So I've got Headspace, I've got Calm, I've got Omvana, I've got Solvana,
There's so many of them. There's
so many.
Yeah, and looking them up on YouTube and things like that, especially sound. If you like the sound baths and things like that, there's a lot of those kind of things on there as well, or the hertz and frequency kind of music.
Yep.
Plug it in, have a look. There's guided ones, there's non-guided ones, there's also.
Oh, see, that's another thing. When I do the sound behind this, I'm going to have to be mindful of my dong.
Oh, yeah. It might blend in. Who knows?
Oh, who knows? Yeah. So on that note, shall we take them out with another dong?
Yes. Let's do that.
So, guys, until next time, we'll see you soon.
Bye. See ya.